Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool. All right, perfect. All right, guys. So thank you so much for hopping on. Oh, let me make sure it's recorded.
Oh, yeah. Record.
Okay, yeah, all right, it's recorded. Okay. Whoop. Okay, naturally. 1 second. Oh, are you kidding me? Hold on.
Uh-oh. Flashing through all of it.
Yeah, I don't want to give it all away right now. Gotta leave something to the imagination.
Little sneak peek there.
Okay. So anyway, thank you guys so much for hopping on our Dash to Diamond call. This is the 3rd week, and you are going to be learning all about building your brand through Instagram. And then Amy and Brian later will be sharing how to build your following on Facebook. So let me share with you a little background about me. So my coaching story goes is I have battled yo-yo dieting my entire life. Battled fad diets, eating disorders. I grew up with zero confidence, direction, or leadership skills. And essentially, I found coaching 5 years ago. I was at a place in my life where I needed something more. I would try working out, and let me do something real quick. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay, let me mute people real quick. Bear with me here. Oh, hold on.
Watch the call.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, so essentially, my story goes, I started 5 years ago as a coach. I had no passion in me, nothing whatsoever, zero confidence. I needed something different. I needed some kind of fulfillment in my life. So I started P90X, and I started getting really amazing results with it, and I happened to be somebody's Emerald lead. So my coach, she ended up reaching out to me, and she talked to me about the coaching opportunity, and I joined. But I joined at a time when I was 23 years old. I had no maturity level to me. And so basically all I was looking to do was get skinny through P90X and hopefully make a few dollars through the coaching opportunity. So when I tried to share my story about coaching, basically what ended up happening is what I would do would be I would just verbally vomit all over people. If somebody posted about, they're looking to get healthy through the New Year's, I would just vomit, oh, hey, I'm a Beachbody coach and you can order P90X, here's my website. And essentially that got me nowhere, and it also got me really discouraged. So I put coaching on the back burner, and I finished out P90, and, I lost 20 pounds, 20 inches, and I was still, having a good time, wasn't really paying attention to anything about coaching, was going to school. And I reached a point in my life where, okay, I had amazing results. I was healthy, but I still lacked that fulfillment. So at the meantime, I was friends with other coaches who were having success. They would post on their Facebook every Thursday all this money that they were making, how they were just helping people and they were loving their life. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to take a better look at this. So I started coaching. I started following and trying to imitate what the other coaches were doing. Thus, I ended up going to a Danny Johnson event, and Danny Johnson kind of turned my coaching business around. So finally, when I decided to take things seriously, 1.5 years into coaching, my business, it didn't take off quickly, but it started to build some momentum gradually. If you can see on the right here, this is just a summary of pretty much my pay, which just is about $0 for almost a year. Like I said, I made absolutely nothing. But now I have had success. Thanks to Beachbody, I work from home. It allows me the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, to travel, to just live a life of total freedom. And part of the reason why I've had this success from Beachbody is primarily through Instagram. Instagram's the main source of all of my business. Probably about 99% of the coaches or clients that I get come off from Instagram. But, I can tell you all this and it doesn't really mean much if you don't see where I started when I was on Instagram. And this essentially is where I started. So about February of 2014, just a little over a year ago, my Instagram account looked like this. I had 5,000 followers, and if you see my account, it's just a hodgepodge of everything. There's, Beachbody ads on here. I was trying to enter giveaways. I was sharing bits and pieces of my personal life that didn't really make sense. And then not only that, but I also shared a lot of photos from my heart rate monitor. And I'll get into that a little later. But essentially, like I said, this is just a hodgepodge correlation or collection of photos that really don't cause you to take another look. But now this is where I'm at with my Instagram account. I went from having about 5,000 followers, and I was kind of like, I don't know, necessarily a pioneer on Instagram, but I was one of the first Beachbody coaches on Instagram. So I started off with a decent amount of people already following me, but I wasn't getting anywhere really with my business while using Instagram back in February of 2014. It wasn't until I started doing Chalene Johnson's Instagram Impact that my business really started to take off. So I went from 5,000 followers to at one point I had about 45,000 people following me until Instagram got rid of all the ghost accounts. And if you kind of paid attention to the way my profile looked before and the way it looks now, before it was just all over the place, scattered. There was really no rhyme or reason behind my account. And now when you look at my account, it's more consistent, it's more structured, and there's a certain aesthetic look to it. So here is what turns people away. So these are just a few examples of coaches that I have found just by combing over Instagram that, while I truly admire that they're trying to work their business, because I'm sure we all have people on our team that we wish would just actually put effort in, if these people could just tweak their accounts a little bit, I guarantee that they'd have more success, because this is essentially what my account looked like before. So if you see this girl on the left, an example of what turns people away is she has so many collages. And if you are on a tiny little phone, those collages aren't even an inch by inch big. So it's hard to really make out really tiny pictures. So essentially, when you have an Instagram account, you want to use collages as little as possible. So the most I might put into a photo collage is 3 photos. Because that just makes it easier on the eye when somebody is going to go to your Instagram account. It's a lot easier just if somebody were perusing and browsing through Instagram for them to make out the details of your Instagram account. Another thing too you hear or you see this girl do is that middle photo with the Shakeology. Now, I used to do a lot of photos of my Shakeology in the same way like that, and it got me nowhere because, for all people know, that's Ovaltine in a cup. Of course it says Shakeology there, but it doesn't look appealing. It doesn't have any wow factor to it. And that's definitely something that's going to help you build your business and get people on board Shakeology, is if you put a little bit more time and effort into making your Shakeology and your food in general look really appeasing. So the second photo in the middle, first things first, this woman, she has her name as Beachbody Coach Ariel's. That first things first is definitely a no-go. That is something I would not do because in all honesty, when I'm on my Instagram account, I try to be as discreet about being a Beachbody coach as possible because, Beachbody coaches and MLMs, for the most part, have a really bad reputation on Instagram because so many people have been spammed by coaches or by Raps people or whatever. So most of the time when people find that, you might be a Beachbody coach, that's a dead giveaway. And they're like, oh no, you are about to sell me something. So they want nothing to do with the Kool-Aid you're tossing at them. So essentially then, the biggest thing that you want to do is try to downplay being a coach. Not using photos that Beachbody has provided to advertise your business. Not just always taking photos of your PIO or your Shakeology bag or sharing things like that. That's not going to really get you anywhere. And if you see this Beachbody coach woman in the middle, she's got Beachbody splattered all over her Instagram account. And then the one on the right here, she's doing relatively decent, but even if you look on the right-hand side, that very top photo where she just has all of the logos scattered all across one post, that does nothing. Essentially what you want to do every time you post is you want to ask yourself, is this providing valuable content? If my best friend were to see this, would she immediately tag all of her friends like, oh, hell girl, you got to check this out? I guarantee that this poor chick on the right who did this probably maybe got 1 like out of that and no feedback, no engagement whatsoever. And so with everything that you post, definitely be looking to downplay Beachbody. Dude, of course be proud that you're a Beachbody coach, but don't just vomit it all over people. And then as well, try to put your own personal spin on things when you're trying to advertise. Just don't splatter logos all over people. So in order to build your brand on Instagram, it is, of course, important to understand your target market, which we kind of discussed previously. But basically, all you want to know is who are you trying to attract to your business? What would they like to see on your Instagram? And then essentially you want to post content for them that's relevant and true to you. So don't Beachbody vomit all over your audience, and instead make a name for yourself so that people will recognize you for you. One of the best quotes that I've ever pulled from Danny Johnson is facts tell, stories sell. So you don't want to just post all kinds of facts and things about Beachbody, about the programs. People are going to relate more to you. They're going to relate to the person behind the money, or I'm sorry, you essentially, in order to get people on board, you are talking to a person, so you need to relate to them as much as possible and build a brand around yourself in order to get those people to engage with you and eventually sign up. So this is how I speak to my target market. So first things first, you got to know yourself. In my background, I have an eating disorder. I love to travel. I'm into fitness, spirituality, meditation. I'm into adventure like skydiving. I love fitness videos, holistic health, and I'm from Toledo, Ohio. So when I do hashtags, the biggest tip I can provide for you first is when you're doing hashtags, don't post your hashtags in the original caption that you're posting all of your call to actions and everything in. Instead, post your hashtags below in a separate comment, and then also make your hashtags relevant to who you are. So even if, say for instance, I'm posting a photo of food, I'm still going to use the same hashtag set on every single post that I make, even if it's not relevant to the photo. As long as it's relevant to me, that's all I care about. So if I do post a photo of food, I'm still going to post in the comments section below the hashtags skydiving, meditate, University of Toledo, GoPro, surf, fit girls, revolution grill. Those are all things that are relevant to me, and there also happen to be things that are relevant to the area that I live in. So of course I went to the University of Toledo, so you are going to see that hashtag because I'm going to try to target other people who have gone to University of Toledo. Or I like a restaurant, a local restaurant called Revolution Grill. They serve relatively healthy food. So I'm going to put that hashtag on my photos, hoping that somebody who's searching for Revolution Grill will randomly come across one of my photos and wonder, what the heck, this doesn't look like a Revolution Grill picture of food. And then they'll stumble across my account and probably end up having more in common with me than what they expected. So another thing to do is to post relevant content that is valuable and that is true to you. So this is something I posted. Before Danny Johnson, I would come home from wherever it was that I came from, and I would just automatically turn on the TV. It didn't matter what I was doing. And once I turned on the TV, I would just veg out in front of it the whole day. And while going to Danny Johnson, she stressed the fact that if you're a business owner, you need to turn off the TV. And if you have time to be watching TV, you have time to be working your business. So since going to her, I have completely abandoned television. But so I posted this photo, which is relevant to me, and it's relevant to the people that I would want to attract. I'd want to attract people who don't just veg out in front of the TV 24/7. So I posted this, and it got me 633 likes, or 36 likes, with 63 comments. In the caption, I actually stated how I used to watch Sons of Anarchy, and I had to abandon Sons of Anarchy because the second to the last season, the last episode just completely startled the living hell out of me. I mean, it left me really sick the way this woman was killed. And I mentioned that in this caption. And so what ended up happening is somebody who was following me, if you look on the very far right-hand side, this person said, you should really put spoiler alert if you're going to talk about a show. I have recently started watching SOA, and I haven't gotten to that part yet. So I responded to her with, maybe this was a sign to not watch it. And then she said, maybe it's a sign to stop following you. And then my girl, a member of my tribe, I don't even know who the hell she is, but she's somebody who follows me, Hanny the Tranny, commented back to that girl and said, laugh my ass off, cry about it. So that's essentially what is going to happen. When you start building your tribe, when you start posting to the people that, you start speaking to those people that you click with, you're going to build a tribe up around you who are going to value your content. They're going to speak up for you. They're going to defend you. It's actually quite insane how that happens, but it does happen. And that's what you're going to get when you are true to who you are as a coach and as a person. You're not looking to just make everybody happy with this. In fact, ever since I started being more true to me, I've had people stop following me. And you know what? For me, that's cool because I'm weeding out my garden. I'm weeding out my garden, so all I have are roses left. Roses of people, or gold ships, if you will, of people who are just credible, amazing people that I would really want to work with. So this is another way to add value. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to inform people, and I like to share, fitness videos and spiritual or uplifting kind of things. And just because I'm doing this, I am getting incredible response from people. So when you post, don't just post without any rhyme or reason behind it. For instance, if you look at this top photo, I shared this photo of Coca-Cola with all of those different things, obesity, diabetes, allergy, all scattered across it. And I shared a relevant story that could match up to this photo. So basically, I talked about how before 8th grade, I used to drink a lot of pop, and I actually stopped drinking pop. And when I did stop doing that, I lost 15 pounds. And then I share in there a tip of, hey, if you don't like plain water, what I do is I like to add lemon juice and liquid stevia to my water because I'm still caught up in, I need to drink sweet stuff. So I share that with people. And because of that, I got 649 likes and over 30 comments. Another thing, if you look at this bottom photo, I stayed true to who I am, sharing a little bit of, inspiration and just being in the now. And because of that, I got 781 likes with 21 comments. So what I'm trying to illustrate here is find out what really makes you tick. Find out what you really enjoy and share that. Speak truth to it. And what you're going to end up having is people are going to find you. People are going to value what you post. And because of that, they're going to be tagging their friends. They're going to be sharing your stuff with other people. They're going to want other people to hop in and join you. And that's essentially what we're doing here. So how I avoid Beachbody vomit is I try to not necessarily post that I am a coach, or I don't really ever talk about fitness programs. I don't blatantly come out and say the 21-day fix. Instead, I might call it my 3-week fitness and nutrition challenge. And so this is how I actually share my story, and I share that I am proof that the product works. So what I like to do, and I've seen other people who aren't even Beachbody coaches, but they just know how to work their Instagram really well. This is how other people share and motivate and inspire on Instagram. So instead of always doing like a flexing photo where you're like, oh yeah, Flex Friday, and getting maybe like 5 people like, oh yeah, I kind of see a muscle girl. What I do instead is I share my before and current photos. Doing that, I also share a bit of my story. I share that, I used to be a broken person. I used to have no confidence level, but because I got into a 90-day fitness program from home, I lost 20 pounds and 20 inches. I have confidence, and now because of that, I am a business owner, and I help other people feel a more fulfilled life. That's how I go about sharing the coaching opportunity or, plugging a program or a challenge group. That gets me really far. I mean, if you can see here, we have over 640 likes and 32 comments from just sharing and not necessarily vomiting on people. Here's another way I avoid Beachbody vomit. So this is how I share my Shakeology. Before, when I used to share my Shakeology, I did a lot of those photos where I would just be drinking my Shakeology from a shaker cup or just look really sloppy, or I might even take a photo of it in an old sporting goods plastic cup, which doesn't really make your Shakeology look all that appealing. I mean, if you want people to drink this stuff, you've got to put a little work into it. And so this is how I do it. I prepare my Shakeology, try to make it really thick, and then I just garnish it with a bunch of stuff, and I take it outside in natural lighting. I shoot the photo, and then I edit it using the iPhone app Vibrantly. And through doing that, my photos look pretty good, if I do say so myself. I mean, I had a lot of people interested in Shakeology from this post. 534 likes, 14 comments. And basically, in the caption, I don't even mention that it's Shakeology. I mention that, it's my nutrient-dense chocolate protein shake, and I kind of share the recipe there. Now, I could have done that better, and I could have used a call to action, but it still got me somewhere because people, this stopped people dead in their tracks. It stopped their scroll, and that's essentially what you want to do. People don't have a lot of time, or they don't want to make the time to stop and try to read a really, really long comment unless they really click with you, unless there's somebody in your tribe. And they also don't have the time to stop and just double tap on a photo of somebody's Shakeology in a shaker cup looking about 10 kinds of nasty. So if you want people to really stop and stare, just take a little time and put some time into your Shakeology. And if you even see in this comment section, I had some woman by the name of Superfit Mama say, hey, love your pictures and videos. Have you ever tried Shakeology? It's so delicious and nutritious, plus there's a lot of healthy recipes to do with it. So obviously I'm kind of doing something right if a Beachbody coach didn't even recognize that it's Shakeology. And this is how I post about the different opportunities as well. So this is my girl Kenzie here on the left, who had absolutely ridiculous results with the 21-day fix and other programs. And I got to just mention too, this girl, I harped on her forever to become a coach, and she probably turned me down at least 6 times. And finally it worked. So if you are having people who are telling you no, just keep going because it works. You just got to keep planting that seed and taking care of it. But now she's a coach and she's absolutely killing it. But anyway, so what I did with her photos is I shared her photos. And basically what I also did to really capture somebody's interest is my first sentence is something that tries to catch you emotionally. So instead of saying, oh, hey, I'm starting a 3-week fitness and nutrition group, what I did instead was, are you sick of rummaging through your closet trying to find clothes that actually fit? I've been there, and so have my clients. I'm helping women all over gain confidence with their bodies so that they can finally love the skin they're in. In just 3 weeks, you can have a healthy relationship with food, fitness, and your own beautiful body. Not only will I help you lose weight in a healthy way that doesn't restrict you in any of those crazy ass ways we always fall trap to, but I'm also going to pass on how I myself have learned to finally get rid of the negative self-talk so you can finally love yourself. Why not you? You know, you've seen my transformations from my clients in the past. If you're reading this, you're reading it for a reason. Now is the time. My next 3-week simplified fitness and nutrition group starts September 1st. If you're interested in joining, message and friend me at fb.com/kelly.hanner. And then I say type that into your web browser, because you would not believe how many people say, I tried to click on that link and it didn't work. But you know, you want to try to get somebody in on an emotional level when you post about coaching or about an opportunity of some sort, because the same old spiel isn't going to cut it. Because there's no emotional tie behind it. There's no story. There's nothing that's going to pull somebody in, making them say, man, I've been there and I've done that and I'm sick of feeling that way. And that's essentially what you have to do, not only on Instagram, but really anytime that you're sharing an opportunity for somebody to join you. And as well, when I post about the coaching opportunity, if you look on the right, there's my girl April, and she retired before her 28th birthday just this year in January. So proud of her. But, you know, so what I do when I post about the coaching opportunity is a lot different than what I used to do. So when I used to post about the coaching opportunity, I would just say, hey, you know, I'm starting up a new mentorship, and, you know, if you're interested in joining, you know, you're going to get 25% off from the programs. You're going to make 25% commission. You can be your own boss. If you're a vet, you know, you're going to get free coaching. And I used to do all that, and I barely pulled in anybody through coaching. But now what I do is I do followed by Danny Johnson, like I mentioned, facts tell, story sell. So I try to share a story, and here's exactly what I did with April is I shared her story. So, I mean, I could read this, but you guys could go ahead and just watch the recording or whatever. But essentially, you know, just tell a story. And if you're to the point where you don't have somebody who's retired on your team yet, you know, share the bits and pieces of your story that have happened. You know, if you are able to pay for a tank of gas, talk about how Beachbody has allowed you to put gas in your tank, or it's allowed you to pay for your son's field trip, or maybe, you know, also project what's going to happen. You know, say, because of this opportunity, I know that within the next 5 years, I will be a retired stay-at-home mom who retired her husband so that we can stay at home and truly live the life that we want with our kids. That's the kind of thing that you want to do, and that's what's going to get people involved. So, any questions? I know that we kind of talked about featuring too, so I imagine we're going to have questions over that. But let me take a look. Okay.
I have a question about how you type out everything in Instagram without having to edit it, because that's my hardest part, is like making sure I don't have like autocorrect on my phone, you know, switching what I've written, because you know, you try to go so fast and it drives me nuts. So how do you like make it so pretty?
Oh, well, thank you. So one thing is if you update your Instagram account, you can edit. Another thing is so if you want to do line breaks in yours, so it's not just like a complete run-on, if you type 15 emojis side by side without any spaces and hit return before and after, that's going to create a line break. So it'll make it look a little bit more organized and pretty. All right, anybody else have questions? I see a lot of people just were eating up that Hanny the tranny thing. Anybody? Oh. Yeah, and Michelle said, you know, she types up hers in Notepad first, and I also do that as well.
I don't have an iPhone, so I think that's one of the issues that I have, because I don't have. So, yeah. So I'll have to figure out what to use app-wise.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I know a few people on our team have droids. So maybe you can ask like April McDonald and see what she does. All right. Well, unless you have any other questions, I'm sure Amy and Brian would love to get on.
Hello?
Hey, here, let me,
I have a question.
oh, okay, sure.
So you've done a lot of stuff. Sorry, I can't even see if I'm talking, but a lot of things that have worked for you. I'm the one that posted today that I finally shared a part of my story, and I got like 17 followers, and I was excited about that.
Uh-huh.
But like I only have like 40 followers now, so it's like, you know, you're doing a post and you already had 5,000 followers. Like, how can I go from 40 just to even 100 or 200? Like, I have like no one.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So essentially, you know, you could always use Instagress to help build up your account, which I'm sure, you know, there's been a little trick. It's been a little glitchy lately, so you might want to be careful with doing that. But Instagress could help. But another thing that's going to certainly help is you can always get your account featured on a smaller page. And that's what I also started doing. So back in the day when I started getting my account featured, I would use Nutritionable. And they were a smaller account. And so I would pay about $9 and get featured and maybe get like 40 new followers from that. But if you have really valuable content on your Instagram, you could still be able to reach out to accounts like fitgirls_inspire and ask them about getting featured. As long as you let them know that you're willing to pay, I'm sure that they'd be willing to work with you, even if you have a small following.
Okay. I actually have another question about eating disorders.
Yeah.
I just sent my story to my coach. My upline is Marissa Myers. And my story is from like my mom. I grew up with an anorexic mother, and she's still anorexic. And so that's a huge part of my story, but it's like, I don't want to like out her basically, but it's like, you know, if I'm going to be true to myself, I'm throwing my mom under the bus.
Right.
So, what do I do with that?
That's a great question. And actually, when I was at Smart Success, Bo Eason, he covered that topic. And basically what he said is, you know, you don't want to throw your family under the bus. So I can imagine that's going to be a really hard thing to do, to approach your mom about that. But his recommendation is if you have family who is a part of your story and you're afraid to share it, you know, confront them, ask them, you know, hey, Mom, this is really integral to my growth in my business, and I would really appreciate your support. I'm not totally sure how that's going to work because that is a really touchy subject. I would know. So you might want to be a little careful on that. But maybe if you could find a way to release it anonymously, I don't know.
Yeah, like it was, because she still has a problem and she'll die with a problem. So she's in denial. But I think I said something like, as I got smaller and smaller, the people closest to me praised me more and more. That's how I stated it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, EDs are a really touchy subject. I would probably just try to go with that from here on. Try to do exactly how you did it. And I think I saw another question, but I feel really bad because we're taking up a lot of Amy and Brian's time. So if we have, you know, some spare time at the end of this, I'm sure we can open up for more questions. So I don't want to leave Amy and Brian hanging. So let's see here. Okay, Amy and Brian, you're more than welcome to hop on now.
They're muted.
Yeah. Am I unmuted now?
No, we're good.
All right, everyone can hear me? Okay. All right.
Let's do screen
Thank
share.
you, Kelly. That was awesome.
You're very welcome.
Right. So Kelly shared in the beginning half of the week about Instagram, and we're going to kind of take the rest of the week and talk about Facebook fan pages, like pages. Just Kelly shared a little bit about her story. I'm not going to go into depth about my story, just kind of do a quick version. I got into the business through P90X. I just started it. I didn't know anything about the coach opportunity. I didn't know anything about Team Beachbody because I was just given P90X. I had no clue what it was about. But I tackled the 90 days. I got awesome results. And essentially, I got into coaching because I saw a picture of my coach with Tony Horton. And I honest to God signed up because I thought it looked fun. And I was like, I want to meet Tony Horton. So I contacted her and I said, you know, how did you get to meet him? Because I want to do that. And she's like, well, I'm a coach. I had no clue what it was, but I jumped in. I was like, you know, I think I want to do this. I think it's something that might be fun. Maybe I can be maybe good at, you know. So I jumped in and I kind of got started quickly. I joined the P90X fan pages. So essentially, really, that's where everything began for me, was with fan pages. So that's where I met a lot of people, just started talking to people. I was a nanny. I worked out of my home, but I brought my kids with me every day. So essentially I was with my kids, but I had to drag them out of the house, and they're jammy sometimes, crying. They wanted to stay home. So my big goal was to be able to stay home with my kids. And about a year in?
Yeah. About
a year into the business, I was able to replace my nanny income, which wasn't really much. I made a few hundred a week. Honestly,
I'm sorry. I wasn't. You actually replaced your nanny income much earlier than that.
But I waited a year. Yeah. So I was super shy when I started this business. I still am, but this business has helped me a lot to get out of my comfort zone. You know, just super shy. And Brian can tell you, I would not even call the pizza man. I'd make him call. You know, it's just awful. So this business has helped me to grow a lot. I was able to stay home with my kids, and then my why slowly became that I wanted to bring my husband home from his job because he worked 80 hours a week, 2 jobs, just awful. You know, maybe you guys have had a corporate job, or maybe you still do. It just sucks the life out of you. And that's what he was. He came home and he was miserable, and it became my goal to help him. He dove into the business essentially because he asked me what I was doing to make this money, and I said that I was just helping people. And he was like, okay.
Yeah, and Amy and I, those who know us know we're sort of different in some ways. Amy's sort of go with the flow, sort of free spirit. I'm more analytical. You'll find that out over the next few minutes. But yeah, it's been wonderful for us because we're both full-time Beachbody coaches. I've been a full-time coach and helper of Amy's business for about a year now.
Yeah.
And it's been this amazing ride for us.
Yeah.
So,
and we paid off our credit card debt. So this business has been amazing for us. And we're already about to move into our dream home this summer. So that's exciting. So to think about where we started with crazy credit card debt to being a nanny to being full-time, both of us at home, it's been an amazing journey. And a big part of our journey has been our Facebook like page. Brian, you know, watched a webinar that really inspired him to start my like page. This wasn't something that was like, oh, I'm going to get into. You know, I was just posting on my like page. I had no clue what I was doing. But he took the reins and he has done amazing with our like page. And it's really been the main driver of our business where we're meeting everyone right now. Okay,
yeah, thanks, Son. So can you guys see our screen just so I know? Can you see it? Yep. Okay. Sorry. All right, so this is my first time on a Zoom, so bear with me. Okay, so we're just going to kind of go into it. So Facebook fan page, go ahead, Amy.
All right, so maybe you guys have a like page, maybe some of you don't, but it's just a public profile on Facebook. I just have to close out something.
Yeah, how do you close the group chat there?
There's usually a button,
yeah,
but we lost our mouse. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
That's all right. So basically a Facebook fan page is just a public profile for business celebrities or whatever. It's just separate from your personal profile. And we use it to gain customers, to gain a following, and to get people to follow us. Okay. So why would you want a fan page as opposed to just using your personal page, right? And the benefits are great. Okay. The first benefit that I see, and you're going to find out from us over the next couple of days, is that it's much easier to find like-minded people than it used to be with Facebook. Back in the day when Amy was a newer coach back in like 2011, her coach would say, and this was great advice to, go join groups and meet people on Facebook that have like minds, that have like interests, right? Well, that is very time consuming, and it can take forever. With Facebook ads, the way we build our business, you can have those, you can bring those people to you. And that's the key with this. Bring them to you every single day. We have new people coming onto our page that are targeted. I'm going to show you tomorrow. I'm going to show you exactly how to bring those people into your business. Okay. The other advantage is that you're not limited to the 5,000 friend count, which you are on your personal profile. You can get search engine results. Facebook like pages will show up in Google. You can also link those to your blog if you have them. It's very important to do that. And a lot of our coaches like the whole separation of a personal and professional life, right? So whether they be a military coach or a spouse that maybe just, their husband is maybe unsure of the business and doesn't want things shared to all their friends or whatever.
It's more private.
It's more private. You can also maintain this professional life, right? Like you don't have to worry about spamming your friends all the time on your personal profile, because in theory everyone on your page would be going there for health and fitness information, right? Or information about you. Like they volunteered to come to your page knowing that that from your ad or from wherever, that's what they would be getting. The big one also is advertising and promoted posts, right? So like you have more control over the news feeds that you get into. You can, advertise, spend a few bucks, and really build a huge business. And the last thing I want to talk about is Facebook Insights. So Facebook gives you all these cool features where you can see how your posts are doing, how your page is building. It's all within the Facebook Insights. It's fantastic information. You can really get a lot from it. Okay, so of all those things aside, okay, the number two reason, if just those being number one, right? That's a bunch of reasons, but whatever. Number two is you probably don't have a choice, right? Like Facebook is really cracking down right now on personal profiles. You may know, like a bunch of coaches got suspended for a month from Facebook. It was a couple months ago, and for using their personal profiles. So it's something to keep in mind if you're using, if you're putting a lot of business posts out on your personal profile.
It wasn't just because they had a lot on their personal profiles, because they were, leading a lot of groups, and Facebook can see if you're leading a ton of groups at the same time. So they're going to, penalize you if they see too much of that, like you're doing the business. Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, Facebook is a public company. It's a business, and they're not making any money off of your personal profile. The only way they're going to make money is off ads and off boosting posts. And so they're obviously going to want to push anyone working a business to a like page or a fan page. By the way, we use like and fan pages sort of interchangeably. They're the same thing, right? Okay, so the only drawback, as I see it, is that Facebook is pay to play. Okay, or Facebook fan pages, are pay to play. So yeah, of course, that kind of stinks. Like the days of getting huge reach or lots of folks seeing your posts without paying are pretty much over with Facebook. They're a public company. They're a business. They need revenue.
But not to say that you have to pay a ton.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, hon, because, lots of coaches on our team have built, their businesses without huge investments. The investments that they have invested have really proven worthy for them. So yeah, that's a great point. You can build this on, a couple bucks a day doing your like page, a few bucks here and there for your boost. So don't feel like, you have to have this massive income to justify a like page. Okay, so we're just going to talk really quickly about sort of where we started with this and where we are now. So back in October 2013, I just got into this. I noticed a lot of coaches were using their like pages very successfully. Okay, so I'm a kind of guy that like looks around and I kind of see what other coaches are doing to see if there's anything that sort of we can adapt to our business. So at the time, our like page completely stunk. It was like we had 400 or whatever they call followers.
Followers, yeah.
no engagement. I was totally clueless. I had literally no idea what I was doing. So, but I dove into it. I really tried to learn everything I could about this like page game. And so I started in early October, started building this page. And by December, Amy had her best month ever. And it was mostly because of the leads that I was feeding her off this like page. Since then, it's been like one crazy month after another. I mean, our business has really exploded. We are up to 31,000 likes on our page right now. And, you know, nowadays your like total doesn't matter as much as it used to, but that's still a great number to have. That's still a large audience that Amy gets to speak to every time she makes a post. In 2014, we tripled our recruits over 2013. It's possible that we may double 2014 in 2015. We are entirely a like page business. That's what, like 90-something%. Yeah. Every once in a while, Amy will meet somebody at like kindergarten, like picking up somebody, but that's pretty much it. So the size of our team tripled as well. Amy's Success Club points went through the roof, and her elite points followed. So essentially, this is really what has driven our business for the last year and a half.
It's important too to say that our team has tripled because we're also training our team how to use the like page.
Yeah, I mean that's really a key component to this is duplication. It's great if you can blow up your like page, but you really gotta teach it well too.
Yeah, which he does amazing.
No, I don't know that. I think our team learns in spite of me sometimes. Okay, so anyways, so how did we get here, right? So we focused on 3 skills. Like I'm really just going to try to simplify it, make it easy. Building your like total, engaging your followers, and running your calls to action, okay? I'm going to focus more on, in the next 3 days, on building your like total and your calls to action, okay? And what you do after your calls to action is really Amy's specialty, okay? Engaging your followers is going to be different for every person. And frankly, Kelly just knocked it out of the park as far as the engaging your followers and posting great content.
It's really similar. What you're doing on your like page is what you're doing, on Instagram,
yeah, exactly.
As far as engaging your followers.
Exactly. So engaging your followers is going to be different. You know your audience better than we ever would, but do what Kelly does because she's doing a great job over there, and a lot of that applies. Okay, so how do you get likes? Okay, so tomorrow, the video that I'm going to be posting is all about this. Okay, it's, put on your seatbelts. It's 17 minutes long, and I'm like, oh god,
Hang in there.
If anybody gave me a 17-minute video, like I better be real into what I was.
It's an awesome video.
So it's a little bit long, but hang in there with me because I'm going to take you step by step exactly how I would create an ad for Amy to gain followers. Okay, but the first thing you got to think about when you're trying to gain followers is you don't just want anybody to follow your page, right? You don't want just random followers, right? You want like-minded people. Remember, that's what we were talking about in the beginning. That's why this is such a great advantage to your business. So I just kind of threw out a couple of examples here. These are a couple of coaches on our team that I've worked with a lot, and they're 2 very different women. Lindsay, the one on the left, is a knitter. She's a mom. She's into fitness. She's real West Coast, really cool chick. And she's got a different niche than say like Amy would or the gal on the left here, Laura Santiago, who's in the Spanish market. Laura is a Spanish speaker. She markets mostly to those in Puerto Rico. She has fibromyalgia. Again, they all share that common thread that she's a mom. She's a fitness fanatic, right? But what I want you to do is I want you to think about what your niche is, right? Who are the last 10 challengers in your challenge group? And think about what do those people like, okay? When they're on Facebook, what pages do they like on Facebook? Do they like, where do they shop? Where do they go to get content when they're on social media? What do they like? Because that's where you find them. That's where you want to advertise. Okay, so this is exactly what we do is once we start thinking about that, we create targets, okay? So for Laura, for example, this is what it's going to look like in your ads manager, okay? So Laura only wants to market to Spanish speakers in United States and Puerto Rico. She let me see here. What did I do with this one? Yeah. So she basically said, Brian, I want to find more educated people. You can do that. Now, I'm going to go into this much more in depth tomorrow. I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but what I really want you to think about is who your niche is, and when we go, where do they go when they're on Facebook? And that's what's going to be useful to you when you go to create your ads. Okay, but what's also useful and what's also very important is what your potential followers are going to see. Okay, so this is Amy's ad. You're going to see it tomorrow. This is the ad. I've run this ad for probably, I don't know, 6 months, and I've run it exactly the same. Okay, so looking to take your fitness to the next level, follow me for fitness tips and motivation, right? So you ask a question, you give a call to action, follow me in all caps. That is really important. I always suggest putting that in there. And then I show a picture. You know, you're not allowed to show before and afters on Facebook ads anymore. You know, it'd be really awesome if you could, but you can't. So for us, Amy's niche is, you know, moms, clean eaters, those who are really into fitness, living in the United States and Canada. So what I did was we had this picture taken, and I was really careful that we wanted to get one of our kids in the picture, so that we could subtly show that Amy's a mom and she's really into fitness. She's got a young guy there, Jack. That's our little son. So that's really important. I want you to think about that when you're going to create the picture that you're going to use with your ad. Okay. It kind of stinks because the picture has to be this long rectangle, and that, like, the picture you're seeing there, that's what it has to look like. It has to be like no vertical picture is really going to work for this. It's got to be horizontal. But, you know, I know Kelly Roberts is on this call right now. Kelly had a great picture of holding, I think it's her son, if I remember correctly, taken vertically, just holding her son. She's flexing, and that's been killing for her for a long time. So just think about what imagery you want to show to your potential followers and test it. We're going to talk about that tomorrow as well. Okay, so we're just going to breeze over engagement, right? But the number one rule is you got to bring it every day. Consistency, right? This is not the kind of thing where you can post like every other day or even once a day.
Like on Instagram, you can post maybe 1 to 2 times a day, and that's great. Whereas Facebook's a little more, you got to post a little more, you got to be a little more consistent. You can't miss a day or your engagement might fall.
And to that point, I just want to mention, you know how I said we have 30,000 followers, right? Well, you know, Facebook is kind of this ornery beast right now, right? Like, so if we have a great post on Facebook, like if it just crushes as far as engagement goes, we might get 4,000 or 5,000 people see it out of our followers. Okay. That's not a great ratio. I mean, the average I think is like 2 or 3%. If we have an average post, it probably gets seen in the high hundreds, maybe, you know, 1,000 or 2,000. So think about that. All those followers that we have, they're not seeing all of our posts. They may only see a few percentages, you know, 5 or 10% of what we're posting. So you can post more there. We post a lot. You know, we follow this older strategy. It may even be outdated, but, you know, we post every few hours, hoping to get likes and shares. And then this is this is advice that I always give our coaches. You got to ask yourself, is this post going to get liked, shared, or commented on? Okay. Because if the answer is no, I probably wouldn't post it because it's not going to get seen. No one, Facebook determines the value of your post by likes, shares, comments, clicks, stuff like that. So if it's not getting any of that, if you don't think that that's going to be an engaging post, probably try something else because it's not going to be seen. Facebook's not going to show it.
Exactly, because there's some posts that I might see to be like, "Ooh, I really like that," but is everybody else going to like that? They might not, you know, have my sense of humor like that the way I do. So,
exactly.
You know.
Yeah. So you also want to target all of your posts to your followers, right? Think about who your followers are and what content they're going to find interesting. I'm not going to Kelly crushed this part of it, so I'm not going to go too deeply into it. I think you'll be able to figure out what kind of content. The thing is, video is killing it right now on Facebook. Video is really where you want to be at. If you follow some of the top coaches, we need to be better at this, frankly, as far as video goes. But the more videos you can put out there, the better engagement you're going to get on your page.
Exactly. Shorter videos, like
short videos, workout videos, just your followers really want to get a piece of you, want to get understand who you are. And there's no better way to do that than with video. And
you can do like a call to action in a video, do a 30-second video, just talking about your challenge and how, you want to get, you want to do this 21-day program and it's 30 minutes a day. Just show your containers and explain the program a little bit and you're done. A lot of people love that.
Yeah. So. Video is more of it takes longer, but it's definitely worth it as far as engagement goes. So how often should you post? You're going to get recommendations from the gurus anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day to 7-8 times a day. For the information for the reason I just mentioned, that your posts are not going to get seen. If you're someone that can really bring it with content and do it a couple times a day, by all means do that. That's something that by all means I would do that. If you're someone that maybe you're going through a busy time or whatever, and maybe you only have a time for a few posts, you can always schedule them as well. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But what I want you to be mindful of is when you're posting on Facebook. Now, this is from the insights. This will show you. I always say it looks like a whale to me. But I am the manager of a bunch of different pages, and they always look like this for those of us on the East Coast. So what this basically shows is when our followers are on Facebook. It's always, there's always this sort of build up until right around 9 o'clock at night. That's when peak time is. Then it's going to fall off. So you want to be mindful. You don't want to post right in the middle of the day all the time. You want to really understand when your followers are going to be on Facebook, when they're going to be using it. If you're on the West Coast, it's really important to understand that as well, because a lot of the population in the United States is going to be ahead of you in the morning, and as far as getting up and getting to work. So you might want to schedule your first post if you're not going to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, no, this is something that we're always kind of trying to make sure that we're honing in. Make sure you keep in mind what you're.
Where do they find the insights button? Just so
the insight, you can see it right at the top there. You see, it's I'm pointing to it like anybody can see it. It's right there. So it's right at the top when you go to your own page, and there's all kinds of cool stuff in there to take a look at. It's not just all about your times of posting, but it'll also list out all of your posts and show you which of your posts are doing the best. There's so many cool things in there. So we do this a lot. But I just want everybody to know, maybe you don't know, maybe you don't use this feature, but you can schedule every single one of your posts if you want to with Facebook. I would not schedule it with any other scheduling tool like Buffer or Hootsuite. I would certainly use the Facebook scheduler, and you can find it right next to the post button. It's that down arrow where you go in, you hit the schedule button, and then you schedule out. I schedule our posts almost every single day. I don't sit there all day and do it, one by one.
I did it this morning, and I was done. I found some pictures. I posted one personal picture, and it was done within 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, it's important to use that feature. Like I said, when Facebook always is going to downgrade posts coming in from Hootsuite or Buffer, so you want to use their tools that they give you. It's really easy, super easy to use. Okay. Engaging pics and memes. So this is where you're going to fill in. This is what we use anyways. So, you can get, different advice from different coaches, but this is what we use, to fill in from the personal posts and the real engaging stuff. We found that pulling, cool, engaging types of pictures from Google Images, Pinterest, and Tumblr has really worked for us. And the reason why I think that is if you pull something that's really cool and it gets shared a bunch of times, you're going to end up in a lot of news feeds for free. Okay. And get free likes. A lot of the gurus will say, the like page game is a game where the rich get richer with Facebook. The more likes you have, the more likes you'll get for free. And that's why, is because if you post something that's, great content, Facebook is going to send it out to more news feeds and essentially get that ball rolling for you a little quicker. So I love Tumblr. That's my favorite of those sites.
Pinterest go.
Yeah, and sometimes I pull them off Gram Feed too, which is a search engine for Instagram. All right, so So how do I know if I'm doing well, right? So there's two parts of your Facebook like page that I am looking at all the time to understand if I'm doing the right things with my Facebook like page. And they're real easy to find. The first is called your post reach, right? Post reach is the amount of reach that you've gotten over the last 7 days. So you want that to be at least 100% of your like total. So if you have 1,000 likes, you want that to be at least 1,000, right? So that means that 1,000 people have seen your posts over the last week. So the higher that number is, the better. As you get higher, it seems to be harder to keep that number high. But that's something I pay attention to every single week. The other thing is your talking about number. I can't see that with our chat, but I'm assuming that's what I said there.
Okay.
So the talking about number is super important. So that is basically your scorecard of engagement over the last week. That's your likes, your shares, your comments. I don't think clicks is in there, but I think it's likes, shares, comments over the last week. So you want that to be at least 10% of your like total, right? So you want the lower you are as far as likes go, the easier that is to maintain. But those are two things that I look at all the time to know, am I on the right track? Are my followers engaging with my page? Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about tonight, and we'll take questions, is calls to action. So you're posting your butt off all week. You got all these engaging posts. You feel like you're crushing it. Your followers love you. They're targeted. You're doing everything right. Well, there comes a time when you want to monetize this page. You want to get back, your investment for your likes. So what do? Is you run a call to action. We generally run just a few. We generally run just glimpse into coaching and challenge group type calls to action, but we'll also run giveaways to get engagement on our page. We'll also advertise for Amy's free fitness group, and we do. She does like a 5-day clean eating that we'll advertise for every now and again. So those are like the key 5 things that we would use. You can obviously come up with other things, but as far as utilizing the like page, I don't think there's any. For us, anyways, there's no avenue. There's no social media tool that works better with with these things than the like page. But I'm not going to go too deeply into this. In fact, Kelly made us look really bad. But this post works. It doesn't look as awesome as Kelly's does, but it does work. So, but the principles are the same, right? Like connect with your follower, explain what coaching has done for you, and a lot of times coaches get hung up with. They'll see a top coach do a call to action on like a glimpse into coaching, and they'll focus on the there might be right here in this one. There's a 6-figure income line in this one, right? Like Kelly said, you don't have to focus on that. Focus on your mortgage got paid, or your car payment, or whatever. It does. Your followers don't necessarily care about your 6-figure income. Right. We use it because it does work for us, but don't get hung up. Don't not run glimpse into coaching posts just because you don't.
Because you haven't reached that income level yet.
Yeah.
Don't share any part of your story, like Kelly said.
So, but at the end, what's most important to is share your story. But at the end, ask for something. Ask for an I'm interested. Ask for an email address so that you can reach that follower. Right. Same deal with your challenge groups. Share a little bit about yourself, have an engaging picture, but then ask for something in return, like an email or, an I'm interested. Okay. But the thing with a business post like that, a call to action, is that Facebook just frankly is not going to show it. You're going to put this awesome, well thought out business post, and unfortunately, it's just not going to get shown by Facebook, whether it catches their algorithm or whether it just doesn't have enough likes, shares, and comments for Facebook to deem it to be worthy. You may have 1,000 followers and your reach is 50 on a post like I just showed. And that can be pretty discouraging, but you have to just understand that's just the way it's going to work with Facebook like pages. And you have to get around that. The way you do it is by boosting a post. That's what we're going to talk about on Friday, Amy and I. We're going to show you exactly how to boost it, both from the boost button and from the ads manager. So boosting allows you to get into more news feeds than you would have otherwise. Okay, it's a really valuable tool when it comes to like pages. In fact, it's probably the most valuable tool.
Definitely.
So I just want you to see what it looks like. We generally boost to our followers first. We generally speaking, that is the best way to do it. The second best way to do it would be to followers and friends with maybe another target in there as well. And then the third would be to what I call a cold target, where you go after those who don't necessarily have a relationship with you. So we're going to talk about that on Friday. I'm not going to go too deeply into it. Just know that both my videos are going to be pretty dry, and if you're not into it, super boring. But if you're into it, you're going to love it. Okay, so beyond the boost button is the ads manager screen. I hope everybody has seen this, or if you're into like pages, I hope you've seen it. But this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. You've got a bunch of different options when it comes to boosting your posts. I would definitely recommend using the ads manager as opposed to the boost button when you want more control over who sees your post, right? So if you have a super targeted following already, like if you did a great job building your page through like ads, you can market to those followers. You can use the boost button. It doesn't really affect anything all that much when you're just marketing to those followers. But when you want to get more specific about the target that you're going after for a specific post, you definitely want to use the ads manager, and you do that by clicking the green create an ad button in the upper right hand corner of your ads manager, and then selecting boost your posts. Okay, so you've got these, you put this call to action out there, you get a huge response, hopefully lots of targeted followers who are interested in what you're offering. You have to have a killer follow-up system. You can't, you may get 20, 30, whatever amount of responses to your typical ad, okay? And you'll get many more responses for cheaper, for free advertising, or like for a 5-day eating group. You might run a 5-day eating group ad and you have more people than you ever wanted.
100 comments.
Yeah. But let's just say you get, you run a call to action for a challenge group, right? You get a bunch of responses, and sometimes coaches get discouraged because they'll say to me, I got 15 responses or 20 responses or whatever, and nobody bought. And the first thing I ask is, how's your follow-up? What's your system like? Because I think a lot of coaches think that Amy, we'll run this ad, Amy gets 20 responses, and she goes in there, cleans up with 20 challenge packs. That's not exactly how it works, right? Go ahead.
No,
this is Amy's specialty. She's really a pro at it.
Yeah. Follow-up is just so important. Just like, with everything in your business, follow-up with your like page is so important. You don't just have all these comments and think, okay, the first time I reach out and get to know them, they're going to, buy in. They need to get to know you. Just like with your Instagram, they get to know your story, they get to know you. You really want to get to know their goals and their whys first and foremost. And I'm going to be talking about this more on Friday in one of my videos about how to follow up, what type of messages to send, and things like that, and how often to follow up. So we'll definitely talk more about that. But having a system too, making sure that you have some kind of system, whether it's electronic or paper. Here, I can share my little follow-up system. I just have a notebook every single month, and my notebook has, these little tabs at the top, who's in my challenge group, potential challengers, potential coaches, new coaches. I just have everything written down, and I will go through this list every day. I will follow up with at least 50 people every single day, because that's really what happens. I will follow up with people sometimes 4 times in a row without hearing back, and on that 5th time, they're like, oh my gosh, so sorry. I've just been so busy. I'm so happy you kept in touch. I've never had someone angry because I followed up, because you have to make it about them. If you make it about them and not about the sale, they're going to be so, they're going to appreciate the fact that you stayed in touch with them. So, and
that's what Amy's going to share on Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Like what she says, how she does it. Yeah, it's just most important. It's not important like what your actual system is, because we have in our house, like I'm a spreadsheet guy and she's a paper and pencil girl.
So I have paper and pen.
So I make this spreadsheet for her, and she'll go in and cut cross things. It doesn't matter, because we have coaches that use Asana or whatever it is. As long as you stick to it, know yourself. You may get advice, from one of us or your coach or whoever, as to what works for them. But really, my best advice would be, because we've taken all kinds of advice from other coaches, and at the end of the day, you have to do what works best for you.
Yep.
If you're paper and pencil, you're not into Excel, don't feel like you're going to change and all of a sudden be super into Excel. You want to make sure that you're doing it, because the follow-up is the key on this.
Oh, I've tried all the systems, and the electronic things just weren't happening for me. I wasn't consistent with it. The only thing that I was really consistent with was paper and pen. I'm old school. That's what works for me. So you have to find what works for you.
Right.
So, great.
So, right, we kind of mentioned to it tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about creating an ad for targeted followers, right? So building your like page with like-minded people, okay? And then Friday, we're going to focus on boosting your calls to action. And then Amy's going to talk about what to do with those people raising their hand and saying, I'm interested. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're going to do.
That's it. So any questions? We don't have like a question screen. They've been chatting. Have you seen any questions?
I can barely do this myself. I can't focus on two things at once.
We lost our cursor, so we can't even. Oh,
yeah, here. Okay, so I deleted my slide there. Okay, so I didn't see any of these questions. Maybe.
Does anyone have any questions they maybe want to?
Yeah, like if you just want to chime in or
type it over. I don't know if we have time to go all the way back through.
I have a quick question. Do you guys find that when you schedule your posts, you get less reach than if it's an organic post?
No, and Shailene is one that says that when she schedules or edits, I've heard her say also, that she gets less reach. And, I'm like constantly a hawk on this, like comparing and different. No, the answer is no for us. But, I don't know. I trust other gurus I shouldn't say other, like I'm not a guru. I'm just like a guy that listens to people. But no, the answer is no, but I've heard that from multiple people who I trust, I guess. I don't know. Do you feel that way?
I started scheduling some, and it was at a time where I was getting pretty good reach for as many followers as I have. I don't have many as Amy, but and then I started to notice when I was scheduling them, I'd get like one like, whereas before I'd get like 20 to 30. So then I kind of stopped scheduling them, but now I'm not posting altogether because I forget. So that's not good either.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. I'll tell you what I do, and this is not for everyone. When I first got into this, the adage was like post every 2 hours, and just post things that you think are going to get liked, shared for your audience, that your audience is going to be into. And I'm still into that. I got to get out of it because I think Facebook has changed recently. But I post every 2 hours starting at 8:00 in the morning Eastern. So and that's like 7-8 times a day, and just knowing that they're not going to get into, and some coaches are going to think I'm not going to spam my followers, and that's not what I'm doing because my followers aren't seeing all of these posts. Right. They may see 5 or 10% of my posts, which would be every other day or every third day. That's probably what you want.
Yeah.
So are you scheduling all of them, or do you schedule some and then post some?
The way we do it is like I'll leave holes in the middle of the day where Amy knows that she can go in and post like a personal thing, and then she'll go in and do it.
But I
schedule a lot of them, and I don't see much of a difference as far as reach goes.
I haven't either.
Okay, cool.
Is that Michelle? Michelle's seeing this presentation like this is her second time.
Michelle's gonna give me up because I it's almost the exact same one that I did for Super Saturday.
It's good to hear it again though.
Awesome. Good.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay. So I have really trying to be a new one. I can't remember. I think it was like end of January. I had to create a new one because I wanted my name to be in it. So I've been trying to build up my following, and I find that, okay, so I've moved my new coach post and like my team recognition leaderboard post and like my emerald and diamond post to my like page. Do you do that on your like page, or do you do that on your personal page?
No.
Personal.
And there's,
page.
Different coaches do it different ways, and that's totally fine, but we just don't. We don't put a lot. In fact, you're probably not going to see any Beachbody stuff at all, except for maybe mention in a call to action, but in a subtle way, like use the word coach instead of Beachbody coach or online fitness coach or whatever. But no, we don't put any stuff like that. But I mean, other coaches do. So, you know, that's the other thing with it. I probably should have led with this is, you know, the way we do it may not always be, you know, the right way or the way, you know, other coaches will do it. It's important to sort of watch some other coaches and how they do things and maybe what works for them. Because I get so many great ideas from other coaches that we can adapt.
Yeah.
I know a lot of other coaches do that though, as far as their team goes, because I can see a benefit to that. Like it might get your followers pumped up to see recognition.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't get very much recognition when I say, hey, welcome. I was thinking about putting that back to my regular page. And still doing the leaderboard on my like page because I do still get enough, you know, back and forth from that. But the other thing is, do you ever boost a post with like a sale or something, or do you usually just do like follow me for this or join my free this or, you know, a challenge group post?
What was the question? You kind of broke up there. Do I ever boost a post for what?
Like a challenge?
Shakeology.
Oh, no, never.
Okay.
Because we promote the group instead of the product. Right. So I think the real benefit and the real difference maker with Beachbody as opposed to every other MLM is the support aspect. And that's really what we have good luck with as far as our page goes. As far as
it's just like with Instagram and it's just like with your regular Facebook page, you don't want to be constantly, you know, like Kelly said, puking out Beachbody stuff. You know, you want to keep it, you know.
I don't think we've ever even had a Shakeology post, even where Amy was like holding a Shakeology on our like page.
I have on my wall. But
on your personal wall, right? Yeah. But that's a little bit different audience.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. No problem.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I used to be really good about follow-up. Like anytime somebody liked my page or if they liked my page and they weren't a friend, then I would friend them immediately and follow up. And I'm not going to lie, like I've gotten really bad about it. Would you say that there's a point where it's like, it's awkward to be like, hey, thanks for liking my page from 2 months ago? Or
from 2 months ago? I don't know how you define it, but no, I'm glad you brought this point up because that's a great suggestion. It really wasn't in the presentation. You know, to really maximize your like page, you could definitely do that. You know, you could follow up and reach out to those who have liked your page. Now, you know, you're going to be in a lot of other message boxes doing that because you're not going to be friends with that person that liked your page. And you also have to be careful sending lots of friend requests. And you don't also, and the other thing is you don't want to say the same exact thing every single time when you message someone that comes up for like page. But pick a few every single day, reach out to them, you know, and just say thanks. You know, just like I know people do that for Instagram followers.
Hey, how are you? You know, I really appreciate you liking my page. You know, how's it going? And then just see if it strikes up a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for me in the past. Another thing is, my brother wanted me to start my page because he's like, I'm sick of seeing your stuff. Every time you like something, I just have like Beachbody like galore, like vomited all over his page. But I mean, I go back and forth. It's like sometimes I put stuff on my Facebook page, like the like page, but like it doesn't ever get hits. And then like I'll post stuff on my personal page and it gets more hits. So it's like I'm trying to get away from my.
Well, I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Like, it's sort of hit and miss. Like sometimes I'll have a post and I'll be like, man, this thing is killer. This thing is gonna go viral, and it sits there with like no likes or it's like, you know, no interest at all.
And then I'll go and share it on my wall, and it'll be like, boom, like it blows up. You know,
there's like this sort of like Amy and I both post on her page, so we're sort of competitive in some ways. Like we're like some days. You know, like
I'm like, why did you post that one?
Yeah, like obviously she's like, obviously that one wasn't gonna do anything or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just a guy trying to do this. but no, it's Facebook is so funny. Sometimes you think you're gonna, you know, have this great post. Sometimes it'll work on your personal wall and not on your like page. But I mean, you really said it. It's all about consistency. Consistency is where this game is at. You don't have to be perfect with every post because we're certainly not.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. Anyone else have any questions?
I have a quick question.
Okay.
What do you recommend for naming your blog? Like entrepreneur, personal blog, and then what do you recommend for your name? Do you suggest having your name
Like the like page?
Okay, so yeah, that's a great question. So Shailene recommends using public figure. Okay, it doesn't matter per se. Like as far as I know, it doesn't matter as far as like what reach you'll get, or it's just a matter of what category you fall in. And I think it may change your insights because it'll compare. I think there's different programs you use that can compare you to other types of like pages or fan pages. We use Coach, I think it was. I honestly don't think it matters. I get this question all the time in our page, but I would just follow what Shailene said and just do public figure or Coach.
And then she asked, like, what about your name? Like,
see, I had my name and then I switched my name and I went back on to change it. And Facebook, it says that if you go over like 500 likes, that you can't change it.
No, you're
stuck. So I'm like,
you can only change it one time.
I know. So
we just tell our coaches, you can do it plain, you can do whatever you want, but have it be you. Like we're just Amy Provenzano Fitness. Pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend in general cases just use your name and and if you wanted to have like a brand with it. I think Kelly does this actually. Kelly Hayner. I think hers is like Kelly Hayner is it Tubby to Tone, right?
Yeah, mine was like my name, and then I switched it to Team Boom Fitness and accountability. So now it's like stuck at that.
Oh.
And I want to go back, but
how many likes do you have?
I mean, I have like 502 or 3. I almost want to like tell people to unlike me to know.
Yeah, I mean, you might have to start over there. I mean, better to start over at 500 than 5,000, I guess. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, I mean, there's no good answer for that because I think you can appeal it to Facebook if I remember correctly, but there's no guarantee that they will reverse it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And I have another question. Sorry. How much do you spend on ads per month? I mean, do you do an ad like, because every time I post an ad, it's like $20. I mean, do you do like once a day, twice a week? I mean, it depends on.
I don't want to give you the number because I don't want to scare. I don't want to scare.
I mean, I know you guys you said you make more than 6 figures, so you're probably like when you first start out a coach. Let's say you make like 500.
And we can share what some of our coaches do. Like we train a lot of our coaches to do it. They don't spend that much. So
yeah, like Kelly is on this call. Kelly Roberts is on this call. I know a bunch of other coaches are from our team are on this call who built more, let's say, gradually than we did. Right? I know Kelly built a killer page on. I think it was $3 a day. Kelly, if you're like on here, maybe you can comment. I think it was $3 a day as far as her likes goes. Right. Mm-hmm. I would always recommend build as quickly or as gradually as your budget, I would set a budget for a month and I would set aside a certain amount for your likes and a certain amount for your boosts. But you can totally build this on a few bucks a day.
I started at $1 a day.
Yeah. Right, Kelly. There you are. Kelly. Yeah. And Kelly's up to 10,000 likes. She's got some really engaged followers. I mean, she's like the one to watch as far as like building gradually. How long did it take you, Kelly? Like a year?
Yeah, I've had it going about a year now. So I started at $1 a day, and then I started making a little more money. So then I bumped it up to $2 a day and $3 and then $4. And I just kind of bump it up when I feel ready,
That's a great example.
So, but one of the things I'm going to talk about is maximizing your dollar with it, right? Like you can spend $5 a day and get 5 likes, or you can spend $5 a day and get, 25 likes or 30 likes. And the reality, you've got to get good at the like page game, because Facebook will suck you dry if you let them. You got to get it real targeted and really pay attention, because a lot of our team will get likes in the anywhere from 10 cents to like in the low 20s. Anything over that, I usually don't. I usually try to help them out and see if we can get it any lower. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, like I said, we spend a few $100 a month. I'll tell you that. We spend most of our money on boosts nowadays, as opposed to we spend $5 a day on likes.
But we built it a little differently. We wanted to get our likes really, really high, Whereas, we don't recommend that to our coaches now. We tell them, even if you get to 2,000, that's a great audience. It's a great.
Yeah, Kelly is the one I always use because she built it really slowly, and her following was really engaged all throughout. So she's got a targeted group of followers. She posts a lot of videos, a lot of recipe links, like content links, and she did a great job. She got a great following. And you don't have to do it exactly.
And
like
she does her calls to action to those 2,000. What does she have now?
10,000.
Yeah. So she boosts to those people, and just with that large of an audience, she does an awesome job. So
yeah, I would say I spend about $100 a month between my like page or my ad for likes, and then boosting my CTAs here and there.
Kelly, how many Success Club points did you have last month?
56.
There you go, right? So, yeah, she's rocking it. So she's doing an amazing job of that. And most, I should ask you, how many of those do you think came approximately from your like page?
Most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a great way to find, like-minded, targeted followers.
Mm-hmm.
There's really, if you invest a few bucks, a lot of coaches have trouble with that idea of kind of getting over the idea of paying for likes. Like it's sort of like this, like they feel like, and I felt like this too, that you're sort of like throwing money in a hole and you don't know that it's ever going to come back.
But it's a business, and it's a business
exactly.
that could really, help you earn an awesome income. So
yeah. It's just like paying for advertising in any business, only in my opinion, it's the greatest advertising tool in the world because you can really target who sees it and not spend any money on those that you don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's really helpful.
Kelly.
Kelly's got to get up in like 3 hours.
You might as well not sleep tonight, girl.
No, I have tomorrow off. I have that funeral.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, girl. Oh, we're thinking of you. All right. Any other questions?
I have a quick one.
Sure.
How often do you share your Instagram to your Facebook?
Never.
Yeah.
We don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people do.
I think I was listening to a call of Janelle Summers, and she was saying don't do that, and I can't remember the reason why. So I just never did it. I just listened to her. I said, she knows what she's talking about. So I just didn't. I don't ever do it. I frankly I don't know much about that either. So I wouldn't be much help.
We're just getting our Instagram started now too. So
yeah, we kind of stink at Instagram. We're
gonna have Kelly Hanner look at our page.
Yeah, I don't think she could fix it. I think we might be a lost cause.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, anyone else? If not, we'll wrap it up. It's like 10:30 here, so I know a lot of you probably have to get to bed. So. But we appreciate you guys chiming in or, taking your time out for us tonight. And, we'll be sharing, like we said, we'll be sharing the next couple days. So check out the videos if you have the time, the 20 minutes to
17.
Share,
yeah.
Promise it'll help you for sure. So Kelly, Hannah, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
She went to bed.
she's out. Not right out.
You guys wore me out with all that incredible information.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully it's helping. But thank you so much, Kelly. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on the call. We did record it, so it's there for you guys to listen to at a later date if you didn't make the whole call. So,
yeah.
All right. So, is that it?
We good, Kelly?
I'm good.
All right.
Good
Take
night.
care, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.